Hey guys, I'm here today to talk to you about the F word. You've all said it. You probably said it earlier today, once or twice. If you're me, maybe 20 times. You've probably said it to your friends. Your friends have said it to you. You'd be surprised you've said it to your parents. Your parents have said it to you. And this academic institution that we're sitting in today has taught you to fear it. That word is in fact F-U-N. Fun. That was a good one. I'm glad you guys are interactive. So, in all honesty, today I'm actually talking to you about failure. That was kind of given in the preemptive. Failure is a terrible thing. Everybody experiences it. You will experience it. You'll experience it academically, career-wise. So I did what any good speaker who hasn't really done much speaking would do, and I Googled the word. And I was going to do a definition thing, but everybody hates those. And so I did something else. I found there was 543 million data points on the internets about failure. That's a lot of numbers. And Google found that for me in about 0.23 seconds. That's a lot of information very fast. People obviously care about failure. So I pretended that I was an alien from outer space, and I was coming to Earth after a nuclear apocalypse, and the only thing left was Mother Google servers. And I had to piece together humanity. And so I Googled failure. And I found this. It's an epic fail. I found this. It's an absolutely epic fail. This guy. It hurts. And finally, the most epic fail of all. And so I thought about what this would mean to society. In all honesty, that's not what my talk is about. My talk is about the fact that you will fail to have a great career. And this obviously pulls on a fantastic TEDxUW talk of past from Larry Smith. And his talk was, deserves applause. And his talk was, you will fail to have a great career unless. And in typical Larry fashion, he left unless as this low-hanging fruit. And it was dangling in front of you. And all you had to do was reach out and grab it, but you really didn't know what it was. And he left it to you to make your own conclusions. I'm an engineer, and I want to make it easier for you to understand what that unless is through my own experiences. So this is an optical illusion. You've all seen this optical illusion before, and you know what to think about optical illusions. So, which line is longer? Yell it out, yell it out. The top one, right? Okay, so everybody's saying that it is the same. At least most people are saying it's the same. You're trained, okay. You're trained to believe that these lines are actually the same. And some of you are smart and should keep your mouth shut. I'm just kidding. But you're taught to believe that they're actually the same length. It's an optical illusion. I must be tricking you, therefore they're the same length because I asked you which line is longer. So those of you that yelled out the same, you're actually wrong because I changed it. The top line is longer. And so those of you who are like, the same, you probably feel a little foolish because the guy next to you who thought it but didn't say it is now just chilling. And he's like, that's right. And if you're Malcolm, you love it because you got it right, and you somehow can calculate distances with your brain. But that feeling you have inside of you right now is the feeling of failure. You shouldn't have shouted out. You shouldn't have commented. You shouldn't have made that step. You shouldn't have followed your gut instinct. And you'll learn from that. And what I want to teach you is how to learn from that. And so, story time. In second year university, I started a company called Litt Energies. That is not a jar of my urine. That is a jar of biodiesel. And my brother and I wanted to produce biodiesel in Guelph and sell it to companies all over the world, but mostly in Canada. Petrochemical companies had not committed to producing biodiesel yet. And the Greater Transit Authority of the Greater Toronto Area, GTA squared, was going to be buying biodiesel from small producers because the government wanted all fleets to run biodiesel. So I traveled all over southwestern Ontario with this little jar of biodiesel trying to sell it to these companies. And we needed to sell 5 million liters of biodiesel or to raise $5 million in cash to build this refinery in Guelph. It was a lofty goal. And there's one particular incident, and this is the actual jar. I kept it in my glove box, and it was a very cold January day. And the fear around biodiesel, specifically in Canada, is that it freezes at a temperature that's higher than regular diesel fuel. That's a big issue in a cold climate. My car was old, it didn't have a heating core. I was running it on 1% biodiesel to make a point, could barely start it in the morning, and I drove all the way to Toronto with this jar of biodiesel in the glove box. I was 10 minutes early, and this was a meeting with the Greater Transit Authority of the Greater Toronto Area. Big meeting, 42nd floor. Get out of my car, 10 minutes early, reach into the glove box, and I find a biodiesel popsicle. And you can imagine how difficult this sale was going to be, because you need to have a product like this that's tangible for people to buy into it, especially when there's fear. So I pull out this popsicle, which is now leaking on me, and I get into the elevator. 42 floors, 2.5 minutes, feels like 18 years. And I rub this jar between my legs. This is the feeling of failure. So I get to the floor, I check in, my hands are shaking. I go to the bathroom, I open the top, and I hold it underneath the hand dryer. 2.5 minutes, feels like 18 years. And I start to see it slowly thawing. I go sit in the waiting room, I find a vent on the floor, I put my bag on top of the vent, and I'm believing that this vent is going to melt the biodiesel. And I'm watching it, and the lady behind the counter sees me looking in my bag, and she's probably worried that I've got like a bomb or a weapon in there. Meeting gets delayed, probably because of that, and I finally go in the room. And so everybody knew I had this jar, everybody wanted to see it. And what I would do is I'd pour it into a wine glass, people could touch it, feel it. I wouldn't touch the stuff myself. Some guys would drink it because they believed in the capabilities of this product. Have the meeting, where's the biodiesel? We really want to see it, because we had produced this ourselves in our garage. I have it, but let's talk about the environmental implications of the product for a little while longer. Where's the biodiesel? We want to see it. I have it, but let's talk about being a clean fleet, a green fleet for Canada. Finally, I could no longer wait, and I looked into the bag, and I saw this wonderfully clear golden liquid, and it had thawed. And I reached in, pulled it out, uprighted it, and thunk, 80% ice. And that was the end of the meeting. And that feeling is a feeling of failure. And I remember instinctively thinking to myself, which is a comical thought, that I was literally selling ice to Eskimos. And it couldn't have been more true. We failed to build Litt Energies. It was not a success. Not only did we fail to build Litt Energies, but this was my second year at university. This is even before the 2/3 point. 2A wasn't even 2B or not to be. I tried to build this business, and I failed that term in school as well. And so if you can imagine, you start a business, you're crazy, everybody thinks you're insane, and they all think that you're going to fail. And then you fail your term in school, and all the people that thought you're going to fail now rub it in because your friends are moving on in academia. And you've got a year of your life with nothing to do because your business failed, there's no way to sell this product, there's no money from investors, and you don't even have an academic career. So I did what everybody else does, and I went and worked at a big software company in town, and I learned how to write code. And I bettered myself through the process. But digging myself up from that wall, dusting myself off and moving forward was very, very difficult. Again, my best friends in the world were no longer going to be going through an education with me, and I watched as they did. I learned from that. And so I have another optical illusion. Which line is longer? The difference is that everybody's a lot quieter. Because I told you that you failed the first time. And that's the wrong lesson to learn. Even though you were wrong, and I still hear people mumbling, it doesn't even matter, and I'm not going to tell you the answer. And if you find me after, I can show you. But you should still be willing to shout something out, even if you're wrong. Who cares what that guy next to you thinks? Who cares what your friends think? Who cares what your parents think? You will fail to have a great career unless you fail to have a great career. It's an oxymoron, and it's ridiculous, but it makes sense, right? So again, you will fail to have a great career unless you fail to have a great career. Don't listen to your friends. Don't listen to your parents. Don't listen to academic institutions that make you fear the concept of failure. Failing that academic term and failing at building Litt Energies was the best thing that ever happened to me. If you want to find out more about that, I'll stick around and talk to you about it. Remember, be somebody or be somebody's fool. Thank you.